Good afternoon. It is 4 o'clock on Thursday, August 6th, and you are here for an Open Doors regular Thursday offering, which is finding the Advaita or the non-dual in A Course in Miracles. So that's what we're going to do here today is talk about that for the next hour or so. I want to thank Livy Laugh Love for being our host and being willing to step up to the plate while our fearless leader, Cindy, is off gallivanting around somewhere with her friends, having a little holiday. So take your favorite seat, sit down, and get comfortable. As Chuck and I were talking before we started, that May's sweatshirt, do no harm and take no shit, has been our motto for the day. It certainly has been mine. So we all have baggage and stuff that we could get rid of or let go, not get rid of it, just allow it to move itself. And so let's rest in just the no effort silence for a little bit and release the day. And know that I'm so glad you've accepted the invitation to be here in this moment. Let's clear the table so new things can be placed upon it. And so the impulse comes together. The impulse comes together. And the quality of how we are together, how we talk, and even, yes, how we listen. This is our gift to the world. The purpose of every gathering is discovered in the gathering itself, in the now. And the purpose is always, in truth, to recognize beauty. And beauty is truth. Let us allow and allow and allow conversation to rise out of every particle of our truest being. It is all alive. We are alive. Freshly alive in every moment. So, welcome to this empty table, a cleared space where something new can happen. When you take the hands of someone you love, what do those hands become? So let us take each other's hands through time and space. And rest here for the next hour, blessed by each other's company, hearing the word. We have only a few more paragraphs left before we start a new section. And I'd like to just read the last few paragraphs because they're all about giving and receiving. And I think it's important to just remember part of the correction of error lies in the way we perceive giving and receiving. So I'm going to ask Chuck if he would just read paragraph, actually, paragraph 11 and 12 and 13.
$11,
12 and 13 on page 332.
Okay. Oh, there's, okay, I wasn't seeing 13 for a minute. Skip up, goes over to the other side. 11, 12, and 13.
Yes, please. So starting on page 332, about the middle of the page.
Okay, I got it. You ready for me to start?
Take it away, Chuck.
Righty. If paying is associated with giving, it cannot be perceived as loss. And the reciprocal relationship of giving and receiving will be recognized. The price will then be set high because of the value of the return. To price for getting to lose right of value, let me see, did I say that right? To price for getting is to lose sight of value and making it inevitable that you will not value what you receive. Valuing is little, you will not valuing it little, you will not appreciate it and you will not want it. Never forget then that you have set the value on what you receive and have priced it by what you give. To believe that it is possible to get much for little is to believe that you can bargain with God. God's laws are always fair and perfectly consistent. By giving, you receive, but to receive is to accept, not to get. It is impossible not to have, not to have. It is possible not to know you have. The recognition of having is the willingness for giving. And only by this willingness can you recognize what you have. What you give is therefore the value you put on what you have, being the exact measure of the value you put upon it. And this, in turn, is the measure of how much you want it. You can ask of the Holy Spirit then only by giving to him, and you can give to him only where you see him. If you see him in everyone, consider how much you will be asking of him and how much you will receive. He will deny you nothing because you have denied him nothing, and so you can share everything. This is the way and the only way to have his answer, because his answer is all you can ask for and want. Say then to everyone, Because I will to know myself, I see you as God's son and my brother.
Thank
Wow.
you. Thank you. I think it might be helpful to read the note at the bottom of the page here, the note 9. So I'm just going to read that quickly. Thank you, Chuck. That is a little bit confusing, I think. So let's read the note. It says, the basic principle here is that the price you set on something is your evaluation of its value and will therefore determine how much you value it. If you see paying as a way of getting, you will set the price low but demand a high return. That's the capitalist system, right? Pay as little as you can and get as much as you can, right? And the result will be that valuing it little, you will not appreciate it and you will not want it, which is why parasitic capitalism doesn't work in the long run. Instead, however, if you see paying as an act of giving, you can see paying as an act of giving. In this view, what you receive will be the natural acknowledgement and grateful return that comes in response to any gift. This means that the more you give, the greater will be the return that you evoke, and you will therefore set the price high, and you will give with great generosity because of the value of the return. Later in this section, this idea is applied to receiving from the Holy Spirit, and by acknowledging its presence in everyone, you will be generously giving to him, it, and therefore will receive generously from him, it. You will hear his answers to all your prayers. So I would say, if I value peace and I'm not at peace, I give my confusion to the Holy Spirit. I give my lack of peace to the Holy Spirit and ask for peace in return, which is because I value peace. So what I'm doing is I'm giving up my lack. I am actually giving up my lack of peace to something else. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the answer will be, but I'm saying I don't know in that instant, right? I'm creating space, right? Right.
Wow.
And we're going to get more into this giving and receiving when we read the correction of fear. Does anybody have any thoughts about this giving and receiving?
It comes to me is really recognizing our oneness, and that that it seems obvious, but in our world, we see so much in that belief of separation. It seems counterintuitive to think that you can give and get more back, but unless you recognize that we are all the one, it's simply all coming from, it's all the same giving to itself.
Yeah,
That makes
I
sense.
think yeah, and this world takes giving and receiving to a really perverse level, so
Mm.
that and religion takes it to a perverse level too, asking you to give everything that you have, right, to the church, right, and then you'll be rewarded in heaven. I
Mhm.
went to the most beautiful church in Spain, unbelievably gorgeous. There was an entire panel carved with scenes in wood, and it was like a 15th century or 16th century church. And this man who had done the carving literally gave his whole life, 40 years, to do this carving. And the church never paid him for it. They said they would. He gave his whole life and he never received payment. And they obviously told him, you'll get your payment in heaven. And so it just perverts the entire giving and receiving teaching. And yet, how many of us have had the experience of giving and feeling so good from the gift we gave that in the instant that we gave, we recognize this lesson. Right? When you give to your kitty cats, right? You know, when you give a smile to the person at the supermarket, right? We all have these sort of wordless knowings of the truth of this. Carol, yeah, what you got?
Yeah, you pretty much summed it up, Amy. It's like giving and receiving isn't what we think it is. It's really just sharing. It's sharing the movement of love. And that seems to be at first it's become a transaction, but it's got nothing to do with whether you're giving somebody an item or giving them something that they want. It's just the act of, I have love and I want to express my love to you. And that's what this world of form is, right? In some ways. And then we realize there's giving and receiving of all different ways of doing it.
Gardening is a form of giving and receiving, isn't it? I give my time to the garden, and what do I receive?
Yeah.
That's partly why we love working with the earth.
Yeah. It's so funny. When I was growing up, and really until I was in my 30s, I had this terrible phobia of bugs, of wasps and everything. I wouldn't have flowers. I never wanted to be outside. And then something changed and all that went away. And you just see how the body mind gets in, which is really the programming, right? The conditioning, and how it gets in the way of us experiencing what we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask a question. This may be more for us older folks, so everybody but May, maybe. Um, my dad was a military officer, and once I wanted to get contact lenses, and he told me that I could buy them. He would buy them, but I had to work for half of it because he said if I didn't work for it, I wouldn't appreciate it. And I wonder what folks think about that. Like, you don't appreciate what you don't work really hard for. And there are examples, I'm sure, where it's true. When we do work hard for something, we do appreciate it more. We give ourselves to it. We give ourselves to the effort. So I guess there are many ways of giving and receiving,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to take over. Yeah, and this isn't 12 stepping, but I've got a lot that I relate to around that whole topic. When I came into the 12-step program, uh, I had I recognized that what I'd always been was a taker while I was out there, because I thought I was hip, slick, and cool for getting the most out for the least in.
That's what we're
And that's
taught.
how I actually felt and thought. And I was conditioned somewhere along the line to believe that that was what was important. And when I got into the 12-step program, one of the first things I heard people saying, they said, go do something nice for somebody.
Yeah.
And if anybody finds out, it doesn't count. And I was going, wait a minute, I want to wear a flashing sign.
Yeah.
But that was the flip. And once I started applying that, then I started relating to what you were just sharing. It was that the giving towards and seeing it work in somebody else's benefit was so rewarding.
Yeah.
And that when I ended up helping clean up, and I didn't want to give up my broom.
Yeah.
I'll
And
I'll stop running my mouth, but
it's all right. It's all right. I mean, and you really can't give what you don't already have.
exactly.
That was an important one that the course taught me. I can't give anything I don't have. Therefore, I have to receive. I have to receive or I can't give. And that's the oneness Carol's talking about, right?
I'll say this real quick, then I won't say anything else, because that's, the first thing I heard in the program. In order to keep our sobriety, we had to give it away by helping somebody else. In order to keep that, and doing that was rewarding. But then the flip side, and I'll shut up, was I had to learn how to accept. And I picked up some of that in what we read, what you had me read. Learning how to receive and accept was very valuable and important to me too. I'll shut up.
It's true.
That's
It's true.
Yeah, there's like this emphasis on the recognition of having is the willingness for giving, and only by this willingness can you recognize what you have. Yeah, which is inherently like a shift in perception.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. All right. Thank you for that, May. That's brought us right back. All right. We're going to start on this new section now, the correction of error. And I want to just say something before we begin. The correction of error in this section, especially in the beginning, is viewed from two vantage points. So just be aware of that. One is the egoic way of correction, and then the other is the correction of the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit's correction is really nothing more than seeing reality. So it's correcting your perception in this upside down world. But to the egoic thought system, correction is pointing out where someone else is wrong. All too often, it's directed at the other. So the Holy Spirit sees nothing that needs to be corrected because it knows what reality is, right? It knows oneness. In paragraph 2, we're going to get into an interesting discussion of levels and how correction works at different levels. And I hope we can have a discussion about how correction works at different levels at that point with examples, drawing from real life. So I'm going to ask, because Carol's right up there at the top of my screen, I'm going to ask Carol, would you read the first 2 paragraphs, Carol?
okay. The correction of error. The alertness of the ego to the errors which other egos make is not the kind of vigilance which the Holy Spirit would have you maintain. Egos are critical in terms of the kind of sense they stand for. They understand this kind of sense because it is sensible to them. To the Holy Spirit, it makes no sense at all. To the ego, it is kind and right and good to point out errors and correct them. This makes perfect sense to the ego, which is totally unaware of what errors are and what correction is. Errors are the ego, and correction of errors of any kind lies solely in the relinquishment of the ego. When you correct a brother, you are telling him he is wrong. He may be making no sense at the time. He may be making no sense at the time. And it is certain that if he is speaking from the ego, he will be making no sense. But your task is still to tell him he is right. You do not tell him this verbally if he is speaking foolishly, because he needs correction at another level, since his error is at another level. He is still right because he is a son of God. His ego is always wrong, no matter what it says or does.
What do you think of that?
That's a biggie.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? I want to put something. So what I just want to say is, so we don't verbally tell the other that they're right, or that we don't verbally tell the other that they're wrong. Wait a minute. We don't verbally tell the other that they are right because they're a divine being, even when they're speaking without making any sense, because this is a correction at another level. And I want to just point out, I'm sorry, I'm not making any sense. I'm trying to read my notes here. So in A Course in Miracles, level correction means correcting from the bottom up. It means fixing a problem at the level of mind, which is the true source of causation, rather than trying to change the physical symptoms or behavior in the outer world where change is impossible. I'm going to put this into the chat, and we can talk about this if you want to, because I think this is kind of interesting. Oops. I'm going to have to break this into two. Okay, so if you look in the chat, it is in A Course in Miracles, level correction or correcting from the bottom up means fixing a problem at the level of mind, which is the true source of causation, rather than trying to change physical symptoms or behavior in the outer world where real change is impossible. Right? So you change your mind because the manifestation always begins at the mental level. It's always of the mind, right? So the core principle is that mind is cause. The mind is the only level where choices, thoughts, and true causation happen. And then the world as symptom, the physical body and the material world are merely effects or outer symptoms of inner thought systems. And then avoiding level confusion is treating a physical problem or an external event as if it has the power to hurt you, or trying to fix peace by shifting physical things, a mistake called level confusion.
Wow.
So I just want to talk about that, or just open it up for discussion there, because this world really does not understand this truth at all.
Isn't that really healing? I mean, healing, if you go to a doctor, they'll fix the symptom, but you keep going and getting, it doesn't stop you from getting sick again, right? It's the same issue can arise. But true healing would be recognizing the source, so that therefore then if you solve the issue right at source.
Yeah, and that's a physical condition, Mel,
That's
but
for
I think
example.
things happen all the time at the mental level. And I don't mean the level of mind, but on the emotional or the interactional level, where people do things or say things to us that are hurtful, right? Or that are just wrong, that are hurtful. And then what do? We don't correct them. This is, I mean, what I'm is don't tell him verbally, you're speaking foolishly. What do? Do you go in your mind and say, I see that you are one with me and I'm not going to respond? Is silence the way that we answer?
Mm.
you know? This is a challenging paragraph for me. So I wanted to just see what your thoughts were about it. I mean, there are times when, what was it? Never complain, never explain. That's a little truism that I have often liked. Shannon, what do you think?
It seems like somewhere else it says the ego analyzes, spirit accepts. And that's what it boils down to.
So, can you imagine a situation where you have had it, or how have you done that? How have you accepted in your life in a way that would exemplify this, what you just said? How can you give us an example?
Well, I can give tons of examples when I didn't remember that. Of course, it just that way. It's funny because I was just had a situation today where what you said about working hard for something. My grandson was in he went to an event and he drank and then he flipped his car and it totaled it. He was okay, but he's working all summer as an intern, made good money and had to buy a new car himself. And I said, well, maybe that will make him take care of this car more so than the other one because he had to pay for it. So that when you said that, that made me think of that, which may or may not be the truth. But anyway, we just get so analyzing everything, and that's just the mind.
Yeah.
Instead of just accepting. And even the mind is trying to accept it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not a good answer, but that's
No, actually, I think that's a really good answer. That's a really good example. Livy.
What it makes me think about is, so I have, and y'all have heard me talk about, and there was a long time that I wanted to make my sister wrong, that she wasn't being the kind of mother or grandmother or whatever that I thought she should be, and I was kind of being that for her children and grandchildren, and I wanted the recognition for, see, she's not doing this, and look at what I'm doing, and I really resented her for not, and I'm so grateful that today and the process for me, with the help of coming to an open door, was seeing that she's who I am. I mean, she really is where she's at. I've been there. I've been willing to heal it and to get the help I need and to, get the sobriety and everything. And all I can see her now as is love. I just see her for the love that she is, and that she has so much shame and so much guilt that she hasn't healed and hasn't been willing to look at. And, I think the last time we spoke, she said, I feel this anger from you and I feel it's unwarranted. And I said, I love you and I see someone that's not healed. And that's all I said. And that was the truth of what it was. But I'm so grateful today that I see her as the love that she truly is, and for the light that she truly is, because she really is that. And it's just been a real release in being able to do that, because in letting go of that, I receive just as much the love back. I mean, it sort of makes it even, I'm starting to
No.
edit and I'm judging, and so I'm just going to quit talking. But anyway, if that made sense. So I'm just really grateful to be able to see her as that and not have that you know, why can't you do what I think you should be doing? Like, I really fucking know what she should be doing, excuse my language. I do not. And so, yeah.
Yeah. So what that's actually a really good example, Libby, and I appreciate it. I think that this is not saying don't speak your truth. It's saying speak your truth lovingly, right? Speak your truth from the core of your being, from your knowing what you are, right? So do no harm, but it doesn't mean you have to take shit either, right? Right? That's why that's and that's it's a balance, isn't it? Mel and then Carol.
Well, yeah, well, Libby was so great. She made me recognize, it's the accepting part. Even though whoever you're dealing with might be totally disagree with them totally about whatever there is. But if you just accept them as, you don't have to agree with what they're saying, but just accepting them and seeing them as who they truly are is all you need to do. Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. I love this discussion. I'm so glad we're having it. Thank you all.
Can we
Carol.
do that with politics?
Well, I was going to talk about that too, but then I mean, that's an obvious one, isn't it, Shannon?
Yes.
Really? You know, it's just that is, yeah, not well served by this lesson.
I'll just say yes, we can.
Oh, yes, we can. Thank you. Carol, what have you got?
Yeah, I think I really love May. I love your t-shirt because it's just that's it, right? And it's not, well, yeah, it can be what we say, but it can be the way if we have to say something. I mean, we are living in this world that has world rule, right? So when it comes down to things that are harmful to the body mind or to, I mean, we're having this experience and it's absolutely appropriate. If somebody were, we were talking about this a while ago in a group where what would we do if we were having the group, this we were on when we used to have it in person here at this house. Now we're on Zoom, but what if these people came and they leave and your valued candlestick is missing? And one of the people who comes to this group and has always come, has always loved those candlesticks. And you're like 99.9% sure that you know who took that candlestick. How do you deal with that? When like, how do you deal with it by not hurting a soul, but also not taking shit, so to speak, and
Yeah.
appropriately? And we were all like, oh gosh, what do you do? And everybody had different ideas of it. And I think it's going to also come down to the body mind conditioning, right? Because some of it falls away, some of it sticks. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But I think we can find that you can respond in a kind, loving way that is not accusatory or does not make another soul feel bad.
Yeah. I loved the scene in Les Miserables, and I'm probably mispronouncing it, when the hero steals the candlesticks from the church and he gets caught by the police, and the priest comes out, and the police are going to rearrest him and put him back in jail. And the priest says, "Oh, I'm so glad you've got the candlesticks, but you forgot this one." And he's got another candlestick in his hand and gives it to the thief in front of the police officer and says, right, gives him another candlestick. And that theft and the forgiveness of that theft in the moment is what starts that criminal onto a life of rehabilitation and giving, right?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
is, and that's, we're getting off of this lesson, but
isn't it that like finding a way to separate the action from the truth,
that
from the
is
love?
understanding level confusion. That is understanding where the level of healing actually starts, was from spirit. It didn't matter. The physical object didn't matter. It was the warmth of heart and the love and the generosity that was the healing. And so I think that's what this level confusion is talking about in the second paragraph.
Yeah.
And it occurs in 1,000 different instances, doesn't it, Carol? I mean, there's
Yeah,
level.
absolutely.
Yeah, it has innumerable ways of expressing itself. That's just one way.
I mean, it's not simple. It's not simple at all, because there can be situations where, somebody can do something and it's really like it has to be dealt with. But also finding a way of dealing with it in a kind, loving way, even if it's just, I don't know, it's very tricky.
It requires a certain intelligence to understand this work in a way, but it can also require no intelligence at all, just a devotional heart.
Yeah.
Just a kind heart, right? That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It requires like this trust of knowing this as an inherency, regardless of all appearance. There's this teaching I encountered through Paul this week where the guys were speaking of this barren field, and as like an aspect of the divine, you can evoke the spirit, the divine. You can say this field in truth, and it's up to God whether or not the field is going to be able to yield crops, or if it's just going to stay barren. Like, it's not there's kind of an aspect out of our control, but the aspect within our control is our acknowledgement of corrected perception, I guess.
Yeah. It's really both and in a way, isn't it?
Right, which is why we don't always, I think what you're saying, May, is that ultimately it is, if you want to say that, or conditioning might win out. So, I may, like Nisargadatta yelling at one of his disciples, like, this stuff happens, but the true recognition immediately that is not me, and that was not truly me.
Yeah.
That was my reaction. So we don't always know how it's going to work out, because there's nothing.
The next two paragraphs actually tell us, Carol. Let's I'm going to ask May if she would read paragraph 3 and 4, and let's see what you think, Carol.
If you point out the errors of his ego, you must be seeing him through yours, because the Holy Spirit does not perceive his errors. This must be true if there is no communication at all between the ego and the Holy Spirit. The ego makes no sense, and the Holy Spirit does not attempt to understand anything that arises from it. Since he does not understand it, he does not judge it, knowing that nothing it engenders means anything. When you react at all to errors, you are not listening to the Holy Spirit. He has merely disregarded them, and if you attend to them, you are not hearing him. If you do not hear him, You are listening to your ego and making as little sense as the brother whose errors you perceive. This cannot be correction, but it is more than merely lack of correction for him. It is the giving up of correction in yourself.
So
Wow.
when you react at all to errors, you are not listening to the whole I spirit, right? And what that says to me is, if we want to look at it in non-dual terms, everything is of God, with God, and in God. There's nothing that occurs outside God. So when I react to an error in another, I'm saying that God's plan for that person is wrong, and for me is wrong, right? Because I'm holding both of us outside of the oneness. That's what this says to me. And boy, is that tough, isn't it? That's hard. That requires being really present all the time.
Geez, no wonder all these people lived in caves and went into solitude to avoid having to come face to face with all of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is tough, but you even see it in a lot of the wisdom teachings, right?
Yes.
How just to just stand back and surrender.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. This is a really tough one, I think.
Yeah.
I guess when you do, it's the holy instant.
I think so, Shannon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the holding of all like considerations basically, which kind of then like I feel like it forms this like moment of neutrality almost. But
Yeah.
yeah, but that is kind of the path of the shaman, is to like go hide in a cave and kind of exist with all of these potentialities and these goings on in like a removed sense of it, to kind of just to step out and observe over the town and kind of
Yeah.
go inward and investigate the whole universe as oneself, which
And
I think that the modern shaman is this like kind of,
you're
you
dancing
have to
with
be able to
reality.
coexist. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are dancing
Yeah.
with it all the time. This is partly why I said, it's like you are the foot on the gas pedal. You are the car going 60 miles an hour, and you are the brick wall at the end of the road. You're all of those things. And it's that's why this requires presence all the time. It really does. And the other thing is, when you forget, you forgive. And that's why our function here is forgiveness. So it's always important to remember, because you will forget, right?
So to let it go, let everything go, let it come, let it go. Appearances coming and going. And that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
It's just becoming like what you said, May. It's just really, I don't see the whole picture as this. So that's my opinion. Doesn't mean anything really, right? It can't be right. It can't be wrong. It's just,
Yeah.
so what's the point in even, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
let's ask Mel. Mel's up next on my screen. Are we on paragraph 5 and 6?
5 and 6. All right.
Right. Take it away.
Okay.
Gosh, we might finish this section. Who knows?
When a brother behaves insanely, you can heal him only by perceiving the sanity in him. If you perceive his errors and accept them, you are accepting yours. If you want to give yours over to the Holy Spirit, you must do this with his. Unless this becomes the one way in which you handle all errors, you cannot understand how all errors are undone. How is this different from telling you that what you teach, you learn? Your brother is as right as you are, and if you think he is wrong, you are condemning yourself. You cannot correct yourself. Is it possible then for you to correct another? But you can see him truly because it is possible for you to see yourself truly. It is not up to you to change him, but merely to accept him as he is. His errors do not come from the truth that is in him, and only this truth is yours. His errors cannot change this, and you can have no effect at all on the truth in you.
Okay, that was juicy. So what stood out? Was there one sentence that stood out for anybody, or two sentences?
Accept him as he is.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
Accepting as he is.
And
Yeah.
this can have no effect at all on the truth in you.
What stuck out for me was if you perceive his errors and accept them, then you are accepting yours. If you want to give yours over to the Holy Spirit, you must do this with his.
Yeah.
That speaks to politics, doesn't a lot, so it's really hard to
It does.
accept the errors.
Yeah. I love the sentence, you cannot correct yourself. And isn't that true? Right? I cannot correct myself.
Is
Right?
that because there's nothing to correct?
There's nothing to correct, and also the egoic self cannot correct itself. It has no clue, right?
There's no corrector, is there?
No,
Yeah.
no. In the holy instant, the only thing that I can do sometimes is just give it up to the Holy Spirit, right? Just say, I don't know what's going on here. I'm giving it to you. Show me what to do, right? Which just opens the door for the correction to come from someplace else other than the ego, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And even sometimes the correction doesn't happen. And then it's like beating yourself up and realizing, oh my God, I'm not even choosing. Like you can just be absolutely hell bent on something, making a decision, saying something or not saying something, and just something else comes flying out of your mouth, or another decision is like, there's absolutely,
It's all just happening, right?
it's just happening
It's
out
just
of like,
It's just happening, right? It is, even if you react from the egoic viewpoint to someone else, it's just happening, right? Which is why forgiveness is so important. Forgiveness is the Holy Spirit's correction, because then you remove the blocks to love's awareness through forgiveness, right? So you forgive yourself, then you extend that to the other. Right? You forgive the other. It's amazing how this works in a direct experience. All right. Shall we read one more paragraph? What do you think? All right. Mel, did you just read? Okay, so Shannon, do you want to read paragraph 7 and 8?
Sure. To perceive errors in anyone and react to them as if they were real is to make them real to you. You will not escape paying the price for this, not because you are being punished for it, but because you are following the wrong God and will lose your way. Your brother's errors are not of him, any more than yours are of you. Accept his errors as real, and you have attacked yourself. If you would find your way and keep it, see only truth besides you, for you walk together. The Holy Spirit in you forgives all things in you and your brother. His errors are forgiven with yours. Atonement is no more separate than love. It cannot be separate because it comes from love. Any attempt you make to correct a brother means that you believe correction by you is possible, and this can only be the arrogance of the ego. Correction is of God, who does not know of arrogance. The Holy Spirit forgives everything because God created everything. Do not undertake his function, or you will forget yours.
Oh. Okay, anything stand out? Correction is of God, who does not know of arrogance. Right? And oh yeah, yeah. Let's read would you read paragraph 9 too? Because that's gonna,
Okay.
thank you, Shannon.
Except only the function of healing in time, because that is what time is for. God gave you the function to create an eternity. You do not need to learn this, but you do need to learn to want this. For this, all learning was made. This is the Holy Spirit's good use of an ability which you do not need, but which you have made. Give it to Him. You do not know how to use it. He will teach you how to see yourself without condemnation by learning how to look on everything without it. Condemnation will then not be real to you, and all your errors will be forgiven.
Oh boy. All right.
That
It
reminds
starts
me,
to link it together, doesn't it?
It does.
at the end, they always wrap it up at the end, and kind of pull it all together take it to the highest level, sort of thing.
They do. And I mean, I'm glad we got there, but we could probably spend a few minutes talking about this.
Wait,
I'm not sure what just happened there. Maybe you're muted, sweetie.
I froze and left and came back.
Okay. There's a lot of that going on lately.
I know.
Yeah. This is a really juicy. Does anybody have anything that anyone wants to speak? We can go a minute or two over.
I remember hearing an AA speaker talk about when the police came to his door and knocked on the door to tell him that his daughter had been murdered. And the first thing he did was he went into his bedroom and got on his knees and said, "Please save me from any kind of hate or unforgiveness during this process."
Mm.
And that always,
Yeah.
that was the first thing he did.
I know that guy, Charlie My King.
No, it was Sandy
Oh,
Beach. Yeah.
oh,
Okay.
okay. Oh, yeah. That's what his Charlie My King sponsor told him when his daughter committed suicide.
Shannon, you were trying to get a
Oh,
word in.
I was just thinking how it goes from the progressive path to get there to the truth of what it is.
Yes.
You can do it either way,
Yes, you can.
with time, or you can just go straight.
Yeah.
That's right. Good observation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we don't get to decide, do we? Because it just happens how it happens.
It does. And it says it right here. The Holy Spirit forgives everything because God created everything. It's right there. Just what Shannon was saying. So the stupidest thing that someone does or says is still of God, with God, and in God. Right?
That's what Indigo said today. It's so sweet.
She is always so happy with her own love. She's so happy with her own love. So, and then the last thing is, you will be taught how to see yourself without condemnation by learning how to look on everything without it. You cannot receive what you haven't given, and you cannot give what you don't have. It's a full circle. Yeah, it's a full circle. But I keep coming back to the forgiveness piece. Forgiveness is our function as long as we are in these bodies. And forgiveness is the awareness that everything is God, everything, including our own irritation and annoyance in the moment as it arises. Right?
True.
All right. Oh, all right. Next week we'll look beyond error. We did well. We're moving through.
Right.
So
Thank you, Amy.